Today's episode of Single Mod Survival, we're going to cover the automation of our sugarcane and our hemp seeds next. Guys and gals, Malcolms1974 back at you with another episode of our Single Mod Survival, where we take a single mod, in this case Immersive Engineering, and we use it for the majority of our Let's Play. Last episode we hooked up the diesel generator, we got the piping in it, and we have plenty of fuel. I told you that I would actually come back and show you how I actually ended up wiring this up. So let's go over this a little bit. If we take a look around the room, we got our diesel generator, we got our HV capacitor, which holds 4 million RF. We got this strange looking thing up here, and we got one of the HV wire relays that we talked about last episode. Something to keep consideration with these HV wire relays: they can only be placed upside down. They can't be placed right side up like these are like this. They have to be hanging, basically hanging upside down. Then we go to this baby right here, and then we go to this system right here that helps this. So let's talk about what's going on here. So we saw this last episode, got HV wire connector going to this HV wire connector. Of course, when you can go from an input to an output, or from an output to an input, and without any issues with HV wires. The problem comes when you want to go from an input to a middleman or a or basically a wire carrier. You know, if you want to bring your wire distance, you can't go from you can't go from a HV connector to an HV connector to an input or an output. You have to go from an HV wire connector to the wire relay, which has to be upside down. Then you can go to the connector. Or if you need a series of the wire connectors to bring you some kind of distance, you can do it that way. You can use that. I mean, that's what that is for. That's basically the middleman between your input and your output. Now, something to also keep in consideration when dealing with low voltage, medium voltage, and high voltage. High voltage is the best carrier of your power. It loses less energy per tick than medium and low. So obviously low is the worst, medium is the second best, and HV wire connectors are the best. So if you have to travel quite a distance, it's best to upload your low to medium voltage to high voltage and then carry it that way, which brings us to what this is. So actually, what should we talk about first? Yeah, we'll talk about this first. This is an HV transformer. This is a high voltage transformer. What this will do, this will convert high voltage to, in this case, medium voltage, since these are all medium voltage. The reason you want to do that is because you got to remember that an HV wire connector has 4096 RF per tick. That is what it's carrying. When you go to the medium voltage, you don't want to lose any of your power, because a medium voltage can only handle 1024. So you have to transform it back down to medium for this type of setup to work correctly and to be efficient. Now the opposite is also true. If you want to go from an NV wire connector to high voltage, you want to convert it into high voltage for, say you have enough power through one of these MV wire connectors to equal the 4096, which basically means you would need to have, where did it go? I'm lost. Okay, you'd basically have to have 4 of these inputs, of these things powering out, to equal what a HV wire connector can actually do. So anytime you do that, you want to upgrade it to HV wire relay for that work. So that's what this is. This is an HV transformer. They also have the transformer which is used to convert up. You use this one, the high voltage one, is to go down. It's either or. Actually, I said that wrong. This is mostly used for high voltage, and there's also a just a regular transformer that's used to say if you want to take low why can't I think? Me can't think. Low voltage to medium voltage and medium voltage to low voltage. So basically that's what a transformer is. Over here we have a redstone breaker. Now there's two types of breakers in the game. Let me see if I can show you guys this. Breaker. There's the breaker switch and the redstone breaker. Now the breaker switch, which is a smaller version of this, does not work with HV, so you can't use that. You have to go to the redstone breaker, which does work with HV. What this allows me to do is, like I did in this example, is that I set up this one line. It comes from this side of the HV capacitor, goes into here, and will power this. Basically what I've done, it's off right now, but if I turn it on, nothing will happen because we don't actually need the diesel generator to run, but sometimes it will run if I have a lot of stuff going, and we don't really want this to run all that much. But this basically powers this down so that we're not using any high voltage over here, and it shuts it down from here. So basically the generator can only check up to the HV capacitor. So if the HV capacitor is always full, this will not run to try to fill that. If I turn this on, this HV capacitor will start keeping these batteries full if we need it. But they don't need it right now because our whole system is charged. Here we got 1,000,000 RF in each one. So basically that's what that does. Why did I set this up this way? Well, remember, this wire is basically being converted to medium voltage, and this is kind of my emergency power for my workshop. This is all pretty much runs my workshop. What I'm going to do eventually here, when we do get the ore, I don't remember what it is, the ore processing, or the let's look it up before I don't sound too numbnuts. Alright, before we get the excavator in another couple episodes running, we're not going to run the excavator off of this line. We're going to have a second line that's going to probably come out of here and wherever we put the excavator, which is going to be a complete 4096 high voltage running to the excavator to make sure that it actually has enough power, since it takes half of this energy to actually run. So what we can do is that we can always have that running off of this, and the system will not be pulling from my workshop when this is off. If I want to turn it on for some emergency power, say my workshop is extra overloading and I got a lot of machines running in there, we could turn this on and the diesel generator will run. So basically that's the idea. We only have one part of the system set up, but it will eventually be set up. So this brings us to the next part, the diesel generator. The diesel generator doesn't need to run 100% of the time. It releases 4096 RF per tick, and that's plenty to run what we have, plus when we get the excavator running. But it's a pain in the butt to actually load this machine manually, because right now it runs off sugarcane and hemp seeds, which if we go down here, we'll take, hey little buddy, we go down here, we know that from a while ago we set the system up to take the fermenter, which makes our ethanol, and our industrial squeezer, which makes our plant seed oil. Both those come into the refinery, which then make diesel, which then goes out to our fluid tank silo, or it's just a fluid tank, it's not technically silo, a fluid tank, and that's where all our diesel fuel is stored, and then the diesel fuel is piped in to our diesel generator over this way. So manually loading this up isn't quite cutting it, so we need to automate it. Now you guys saw a sneak peek at this system last episode, and I told you I'd talk about it this episode. Let's go talk about it a little bit. So right here we have an automated sugar farm. This is a vanilla sugar farm. Now I will post the links to the two videos that I did see. This is not my invention. The building is my invention, but the actual mechanics of how this works is not my invention. In fact, this whole build is actually from two different videos. I'll post both videos. I took the ideas from both videos and I put this sugarcane farm. So if we look in here, I've got about a stack and a half of sugarcane in here, and that's probably, I don't know if it's going to be enough, but it's going to be interesting for it to supply the sugar. Again, it doesn't have to run 100% of the time, so this might be enough, it might not be enough. We will not know until we actually get the excavator running and see how this thing. So let's go over what we have here. This is all run off redstone, and how it basically works is that the sugarcane grows, and what these pistons are running off is called a bud switch. Bud switch. Did I say that right? Yeah, I believe so. Block update detection system, I guess, or buds, whatever you want to call it. So when one of these grow, the block actually has a block update, and the pistons are programmed to read that, and with a little redstone you can actually make the pistons activate. So what happens if any one of these grow, or any one of those up there grow, they will push the sugarcane into these hoppers. Now this is where my system ends, is different than a lot of the systems. If you look, I actually have 14 blocks of sugarcane. This is where I combined two different videos. One video had the 14 set up, and he had water blocks running from one end to the other. And it's the same up there. The guy that had the hoppers only had 7 blocks of these running into hoppers, and that wasn't going to be sufficient for my use. So let's go actually take a look at the redstone now. We'll go all the way to the top, and this is not, you do end up losing some. It's not quite the most efficient system. Sometimes they get stuck on the edge right there. It doesn't happen as much with the hoppers, but I don't have enough iron to put hoppers on every level. Actually, you can see how they fell down right there. So the second level is actually reliant on falling down into the first hopper. So we're basically using that hopper system for 2 different levels, which works most of the time. Eventually I would like to have hoppers on every level, just to make it more easy. So the redstone in here, we can see we have redstone running all the way up here, and how this actually works is we can't actually see it because it's buried. I have a furnace right here that has 14 cobblestone. For whatever reason, that gives power to another piston that is right here. It's pointing up. This is what resets the whole system. So when the bud switch activates, it pushes out your pistons, but what would happen if this was not here? The pistons would stay out. What that happens here is that this pops up, breaks the redstone comparator signal, which is also covering all of this, and it allows the system to reset, because now you don't have any power going to these to this redstone. So that, in a gist, is how this works. So this is actually going to go up 2 more tiers, because we need to actually set up the hemp system, and we'll get into that right now. So and then I'll show you how actually this all builds, but first we got to go get a few resources here. Let me go over here, and this is going to be kind of a quick build thing. It's not gonna, I'm going to try to make this video go as quick as possible, but basically I'm just going to go and get 15 pistons, a comparator, what is it called? Redstone. Here we go. A redstone repeater, a comparator. You obviously need redstone. We need 14 pistons plus 1 more. We need 1 block of sand, and we need 1 furnace. So I'm going to get all that together, and I'll meet you back at the thing, and we'll set this up. Alrighty guys, I am back. I got everything I need. Okay, so for this you're going to need some sort of regular block that you want to make the actual building out of. Like I said, you're going to need a redstone comparator repeater, you're going to need redstone, you're going to need 2 buckets of water, 15 pistons, some dirt, glowstone, because our hemp seeds actually require glowstone because they need a pretty big light source to actually run, some glass if you're going to try to match what I'm building. And am I missing anything? Did I miss anything? Obviously the hemp seeds. We'll get some hemp seeds from the garden when it happens. So the first thing we're going to want to do is I set this up. So if you're on the ground level, you know, you're starting from the ground level, you'll want something like this set up. In my case, this is the way I have my building set up. So the dirt, if you look down here, goes on this ledge right here. So you want to put some dirt just like so. Now this channel right here is actually for our water. So go like that, and you go like that, and now we have our supply of water. Now the pistons are actually going to sit right on top of where the water is. So if we come over here and we go like so, we'll be able to put our pistons right over the water. We grab our pistons and we go like that. No, actually no, that's wrong. Sorry, I was incorrect. My apologies. You could just put regular blocks over the pistons. I do this all the time. I did it the last time I did this too. Alright, so now your pistons are actually set up. Let's bring this up one more level. Like so. And now I should be able to lay my pistons straight. So the pistons go, so obviously if you need 14 blocks of dirt, you need 14 blocks of pistons to go with it, plus one extra for the actual resetting of the system. Whoops. I'll fix that in a second. There we go. That is our extra one. There we are. So now everything's set up, the piston, so when the plant grows, when you plant it, it's up to this level. So we don't obviously want to knock the lower level because we want it to regrow and regrow. When it grows the second level, the bud system will detect any one of these grows, it will detect it, and it will push it off. So, right guys, so once we get the pistons on and your water stream done, you're going to want to actually plant your hemp seeds, or in this case we're using hemp seeds, but if you have if you're doing the sugarcane part, then you can do the sugarcane. So I'm just gonna make sure all these are farmland, and I was prepared for that breaking. Alright, and now I'm gonna plant all my hemp seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we go, that's all set. So now when they grow full length, when we get the bud switch part set up, everything will be due. I also encase this for everything is pretty much even. I really have to work on this building a little bit, but I kept a little bit of room down here for I come down here and I can check out the system down here. We can actually, and I can double check to make sure I'm doing everything right. So for now, what we have to do is we have to grab the other piston, and we have to grab the oven. So you have all your you can do this on either side, by the way. You can do it on this side or you can do it on that side. I have this building set up for both sides because I thought there would be an issue with having them all on the same side, so I kind of wanted to make it opposite. But now that I went up one higher, I believe, on this, I don't think there'll be any issues with these interfering with each other. So piston. This piston, so this is easy to remember. You want, wherever end you're on, you want this piston to face up. Next to that piston, you want one of your sand, so on top of it. So what happens is the piston pushes this up, resets the bud switch, and then it falls back down. You could use a sticky piston, but that won't work, as that'll be a little bit more expensive for you. And then right next to that, we're going to put the furnace. Now in the furnace, you're going to put 14 items to go with this build, and I'll show you why maybe that is a little bit later, why I think it works that way. I'm not too great on redstone mechanics, but this is the way the guy had it in the video, so I know it works. Basically, with 14 in there, it's giving a signal to the sand, which will continue our circuit all the way down. Doesn't matter how many you have in there. I think that has more. I think we use 14 because of the distance we have. What we have here, it's 14 rows. I think that's why it's 14. It'll give you a signal with 12, 10, whatever. But alright, so I'm going to grab some more of these. And what we need to do is we need to build this out. And what we want to do is build out like that. So now that everything's even, you want to build another hole basically around this. So you have kind of like a U shape between the sand. So it's kind of like a U right here. You want that hole there. That's where our comparator is going to go. And then you want to build down all the way just like so. And I'll kind of add that like that just to go with that. And then we need our redstone. Where's my redstone? You want the redstone going from the sand all the way over here. Now that's where the 14 comes into. Think about it for a second. We're running 14 blocks. I think that's why this is set up to be 14. So the sand is powering this block, and it will power the block over here, which is going to be our resetter. So what we actually need to have is we need to have 2 more redstone there, and now all we need to do is put in the comparator and the redstone connector. So the comparator has to face this way. So if you're standing on the sand block, you place it down. That's the wrong thing. That's the repeater. You can see that it gives power to those. And when we would do the repeater, you want it to go. Do I have that backwards? Of course I do. Just like that. So facing this way with a comparator and facing this way with a repeater, this sand is giving power. It's making it go 14 blocks. So you can see it barely reaches down here. Ah! Did I just fall? Did I really just do that? I did. Sorry, guys. It just barely reaches down here. And I do have to kind of get my way up. Have myself get a way up here. And this sets this. So what happens is that once one of these block updates, these will pop out, and this will pop out, will break these, because you're losing your power to this, and then it'll drop back down, and everything will work right. I believe that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure, but it's sort of, obviously this is powering either this, most likely this. So the comparator is going through here. That comes up, it breaks the block, it breaks the comparator's signal, and it shuts these back, it closes these back when they open up. So that's how that works. So this is actually all set up. All I have to do is wait until we get one growth, I do believe. Let me see if I can get this to work correctly, because we do want to test it to make sure it actually works. Might actually be hard to do it with this, because I don't think we can, unlike a sugar cane. Actually, you know what? We can test it with a sugar cane. Let me do that. Hopefully I didn't butcher this too much for you guys. I'm going to put that there. Put a sugar cane. I can't put a sugar cane on that, can I? Let me kind of grow down here. Oh crap, that's going to mess things up. Oh crap. That could break sugarcane out. Oh crap. Disaster. Hopefully didn't break any sugarcane. Okay, so sugarcane. So there you go. That's how you test it. Every single one of them are pushing over. The system seems to be working correctly. Yay! And we'll just take the sugarcane out, and we'll re-hoe this, and we'll plant that. So there you go. That is the industrial hemp part of it. Now this is going to go up one more level. Usually what I do is that I place glass like so. And I also bring out the block. Obviously this is doing a block update, that's why it's moving like that. I bring out the block for when it grows, it doesn't hit this. You don't want to bring it out any farther than this, because obviously we want the second tier to be able to actually function correctly. So let me kind of bring that down, these walls are just for they don't mess with this. Now I'm going to put aluminum scaffolding on this side, so let me bring this up. There we go. So there. And I usually bring it up one more where we can look in here. It kind of looks pretty. Looks like a nice building from down there. We're kind of high. It's the highest building in the place. And I think I went 3 with the other one. So let's do another set. And we'll bring this up and down. So there you go. Now we're ready to almost do the second layer. So to add that second layer, you just go like this. I don't want to go too far because I have to go get some scaffolding to be able to come back up. And I'm going to make the second layer, and I will be right back, guys. Alright guys, so there you go, there's the build right now. I think it came out pretty good. As you can tell, I added a bunch of glowstone things up there to help those grow, and all I'm waiting for is them to come to full fruition. The building is pretty much complete. Next episode we're going to go over the automation with sending the sugar canes down to the actual thing. This video is kind of run kind of long, so until next time, guys, this is Malkuth 1974. Have a great day, and I just want to take this time to thank everybody that watches the series and supports it, and hit that like button to make the series a little bit more popular, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Malkuth, out of here.